Hi everyone, it's Gabrielle. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to be talking about something that I asked some of my friends, just some questions that they would like answered about, my transition, being transgender, and, just things in general. So the one that I wanted to talk about today was how I learned to accept myself being trans, and then how I learned, to come out to my family over time and become who I am today, and what my feelings were like before I transitioned, and all of those things. So I think this is a great video for anyone who's wondering really what it's like before you transition and the moments leading up to it, because I think that's something we don't talk about a lot, is what's happened in the past that has led up to us coming to a point where we're coming up to transition. So I started transitioning in 2013. It's 2015 right now, so it's been quite a while, but so I started my transition in 2013. So I think what I'm going to do is start from basically the start of my story. So I was born, see, even saying my birth name is very uncomfortable for me, because now that I'm living as who I am today, it's so uncomfortable to hear even the name that I had before. I don't even feel like I remember people saying it. It's that bizarre. It's a completely different person. So, okay. I was born Benjamin Lionel Stefan Gladue. Saying that is honestly one of the weirdest things that I've ever really done, because I don't identify with that person at all. It's bizarre to say that name because that's not who I am today. But when I was born Benjamin, I was a very, very different child. I remember when I was younger, in was it grade 1 or kindergarten? I don't remember actually. But I was very feminine from a young age. I would always go to, dresses, and I used to dress up in my mom's clothes and my grandma's clothes, and to pretend I had long hair, I used to take a towel and I'd wrap it around my head, and then I'd take an elastic and tie it back to pretend that I had long hair. And I actually remember this one dream that I had, and it was so long ago, but something about it just makes it stick to me for some reason. And it was literally, I was in kindergarten when I had this dream, or maybe grade 1. And I remember in my dream, I was in the kindergarten classroom, and my brother, had touched my hair, just like that. And then I remember it was all long in my dream, and I remember I was wearing a pink dress, because I was looking at myself kind of like how you guys are looking at me. So it wasn't me looking out, it was myself looking at myself. I don't know how to describe it. It was really weird. But that kind of always stuck with me. And then I never thought of myself as being anything different than, a girl. I always thought I was a girl when I was younger, because I didn't know, right? I think it was when I was in grade 1, someone came up to me and had asked me, "Are you going to get a sex change when you're older?" And I was like, "What's a sex change?" I had never heard of it. Lo and behold, how ironic. So after that happened, I kind of knew that I was different, and it was always there for me, but it was never something that I actually touched base on. I never actually discovered it, because I was 4 years old, 5 years old. I thought that I was a girl, but I wasn't. And that was something that it was difficult for me to even understand as I grew older. And as I did mature more, I started learning more about males and females. And I came to the conclusion that I was a male, and I must have been crazy, because I had never heard of being trans. I thought that I was literally psycho, because no other boys dreamed about wearing dresses and wearing lipstick and, having long hair and whenever I would imagine myself doing things, it was never as a boy. It was always me as a girl. So it was something that was very evident from a young age. And it's always stuck with me. As I matured and as I, grew into grade 4, 5, and 6, that's when I started becoming in touch with sexuality. And yeah, when I was in grade 4, I came to the conclusion in my mind that I was gay, but I didn't come out until grade 8. Basically, before grade 4, all of that time before, I never, I knew what being gay was, but I didn't think that I was, because I always thought that I was a girl. When I was attracted to boys, because I was taught when I was younger that girls are attracted to boys and boys are attracted to girls. Obviously now, I don't think that anybody can be attracted to anyone. I actually got that concept when I was in like grade 3 that you can love whoever you want, right? Because I was like, what the fuck is this trying to tell me who I can love? I was always looking at boys and I was like, oh my God, I want to be your wife one day. You're so hot, whatever. But then I was like, you know what? Like, something's not right here. And that was as I started going into more maturing, my body started maturing. I was like, this is not right. This is not supposed to be happening. This needs to be stopped because I can't become a man. That was in my mind. I said, I can't become a man. If I did, I told myself that if I became a man, I would kill myself. Because it terrified me so much to think of being a man. I was so feminine. I know there's like being feminine and then, having feminine traits and being female. It was just a very odd thing for me. What grade was it? Well, when I discovered Lady Gaga, I realized that she was very supportive of the LGBT community. And I did not know what that was. I researched into it. I knew what lesbian was. I knew what gay was. I knew what bisexual was. I had heard of transgender at that point, but I had never actually dug deep enough into researching it. And that's something I regret. Is because if I would have researched it sooner and I would have known what it was, I would have connected with it, and then I would have been able to transition earlier. And that's something that I would have been like totally down for. If I could do one thing, go back in time, I would have transitioned and come out as trans at a younger age. But you can't fix the past. Well, I kind of am fixing the past actually, but I don't have a time machine. So I'm going to say grades 7 and 8 were very difficult years for me because I was maturing more and more day by day. And it was very scary for me. I reached a point in grade 7 and 8 where I was so depressed with myself and I was so depressed with the life that I was living that I started self-harming. I started smoking, and then I eventually, in grade 8, attempted suicide. There was many things behind the suicide thing. It wasn't only being trans, and that's just very personal for me to talk about, so I don't really feel comfortable doing that right now. But being trans was a key factor in the suicide because I felt like I had nowhere to go. I felt like that everyone would think I'm crazy. I felt like everyone would think that I'm, messed up. And I was scared of that. I didn't want to lose the support that I had from my family. I hadn't even come out as bi at that time, but there was a point when I did identify as bi. And then after I attempted, I discovered who I was. I discovered that I wasn't crazy and that I was transgender. I am transgender. I'm not ashamed of it. It's difficult, but it makes me who I am. So I made the conscious decision to come out as gay first. See how people would react to me if I would have negative reactions, because I knew that being gay was a lot more accepted than being transgender. It was socially and culturally more evolved than being trans, and I knew that. So I knew that I needed to do that first, and I got a lot of positive support, and people didn't really care. They were just like, just do whatever you want to do and be yourself. So I did. Casually, I started going into makeup, and I started out with very orange foundation and very, very bad lipsticks and stuff. And then people were like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing lipstick? You're a boy. And I said, I am who I am, and this is what makes me comfortable. So if you don't like it, then don't wear makeup. But I'm going to do what makes me comfortable. And then over the summer, after I graduated grade 8, that was a very hectic time in my life because I was going into high school and I didn't know how people were going to react to me, right? So I was like, am I going to go into high school as trans, or am I going to go in as gay and then eventually transition? And I chose the second option because I needed to see, again, how people reacted to me. New environment. It was a brand new school. I didn't know anyone. People reacted to me well. And then I slowly just told my mom, this is who I am. I'm transgender. I want to be a woman. I said I've been female my whole life, but I haven't accepted myself for who I was until after I attempted suicide. And basically, I've always known, but it took almost dying for me to say, fuck it, I'm living my life the way I want to, and if people don't accept me, then they don't need to be in my life, but I need to do this for myself. I hope this video helped you guys, and if you have any comments, any questions, leave them down below. Stay healthy and keep smiling because it looks great on you, and thank you for watching, and I appreciate all your support.